He's gonna step on you again.
Made in Manchester with Michelle Mullane on BBC GMR.
He's gonna step on you.
And it's approaching 11:15. It is BBC GMR. This is Made in Manchester. Now, do you know any young musicians who would love to be in a band? Any budding Liam and Noel Gallagher's? I think we've got enough of them. We're just the two of them. Perhaps your children or grandchildren, friends or relatives fancy having a go. Well, working on this show, as you know, we know better than many that up-and-coming young bands are all fighting for the big break. It is a very tough industry at the best of times, especially for musicians who have been working alone and looking for a like-minded band to join. It's difficult to get that collaboration absolutely spot on because so many different break up, make up, get back together and then go in the different directions. But many young musicians do not go beyond their bedrooms. That's where my Made in Manchester guest comes in. Andrew Turnbull runs a band school offering classes and workshops and helps solo musicians find their band. Thank you for coming in on the show.
Thank you, Michelle.
No, it certainly sounds like you've set yourself a bit of a challenge there, because I tell you what, working with a lot of bands, you see that the makeups, the breakups, and usually those breakups happen for a very good reason, don't they, as well? But so do you have to, dealing with all these tempestuous personalities is quite an interesting one, I would imagine, from your point of view.
Well, fortunately, we don't have too many prima donnas so far.
He says, I can't name them now anyway, because I'm on the radio.
There are challenges, working with different bands, and it's a challenge both for me and for the tutors that I recruit to work with me. Each band is different, and we have to get a feel for each band and try and determine what we're going to offer them.
It is difficult. I was mentioning before when I was at the Chester Youth Fringe Festival over there at the weekend, there was this great band called Brand New Day, and it was such an interesting mix of characters. The music in itself just came as a complete surprise because they had a punk guy in there. They had this other guy who was on the drums. He looked amazing, so chilled, but he was apparently he was about 48, didn't look that at all. And there was this mix of all different ages, which I found really refreshing, actually.
It's nice to sort of combat the ageist thing. Yeah, it's great. If young and old can get together in the same bands, why not?
But so people come to you and take part in these workshops. Tell us a bit about what you actually do then.
Yes, well, we work on a termly basis. And a term for us is 10 weeks. Right. Usually 10 consecutive Saturdays, but not necessarily. At the beginning of the term, we put people into bands. Based on the information they give us, and then we proceed to try and achieve the objectives that we set for that term, which more often than not is based around a concert at the end of the term, or it could be some recording session somewhere around Manchester.
Brilliant.
That's how it's shaped up so far. So we offer workshops, we offer coaching, we get in with the bands and we interact with them in any which way we can, and we tutors, we work as a team.
That's really nice. And I suppose obviously once that 10 weeks is up as well, I'm assuming you do still keep in contact with them.
Well, of course. A lot of the bands and individual students carry on with us. It's not like they have to go after one term. We've had musicians who have been with us right from the start. We started 2 years ago, and they're still with us now, and that's nice. So they've developed.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see them develop, because even on this show, since the show started a year and a half ago, we had the bands who came on right at the start, and we've seen them. I call them my bands because I feel I'm doing my bit, and we see them develop and see them how they grow. And there's also some of those bands as well, because we link up with Six Music, and Phil Jupiters comes on, and he gives advice as well to some of the unsigned scene. And there's one name that definitely springs to mind, a guy called Andy Clark, who was in a band called French Eric, and he was very gently insinuating to him that perhaps he should do his own thing. And fortunately he's done it, and he sounds amazing. So again, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if you put them together and you think it's going to work and they think it's working, then you think, actually no, it's not, perhaps you're better over here. And I often see bands thinking, well, why have you got a female singer when you've got a male singer? The bloke is often I saw this at the weekend, this bloke was fantastic, he didn't need this female vocalist.
Our choices of musicians and how we put them together into bands is really restricted by the number of musicians we've got in our pool, the people that join us. So obviously the bigger the pool, the greater the choice we've got. It's worked out quite well so far, in that we've had a limited pool, let's say, but we've managed to put some good bands together, and the musicians, the students, they seem to accept their situation, the band that they've been put together with, the other people they've been put together with, and they just get on with it, and that's great.
So tell us about some of your success stories then, some of the bands we should be looking out for.
Well, obviously some of the bands now who have left us are starting to make a name for themselves around Manchester. We've got two bands who have just recently left us, one called Clown Shoes and another band called One of Many.
Right.
And they're now beginning to, play around Manchester, and they've got little fan bases.
Excellent.
I mean, these are really young bands, these are, well, I say young, relatively young, 16 to 19, 20.
That's fantastic.
But it stands them in good stead for what they might do later on. We've given them a platform, and I'm interested in following their progress outside of band school as well.
Oh no, that's brilliant. Well, I've got a track to play here from a band, which is one of yours.
Yes.
The band is called One of Many, which is you just mentioned there before. Yes,
One of Many have an interesting checkered history. Two of the members were with us right from the very start, and there were various changes in lineup. And each time they changed the sound.
Right.
At this particular point in time, when they did this recording, they had a girl singer called Maria, and that was up until Christmas time. Then she left, so they changed the sound again. But they got this opportunity to do a recording at the School of Sound Recording in Manchester. So we did that.
Right.
At this point, they sound kind of ambient, I think.
Well, it's interesting because I always say to bands anyway when they come in, it usually takes a good while before they find the sound that they're after. And when I speak to established bands, people like Travis, it takes them 6 years plus to actually get it the way they wanted it to be.
Sure.
So
I always think that the most significant bands are those who manage to find a unique sound, a sound that you identify with them. It's very easy to be a clone, and to sound like other bands who may well have had some success, and I just think that's not what they should be aiming for. So we do try and encourage originality and to go for that new sound if they can.
Well, let's have a taste of that originality that you're churning out. This is One of Many on BBC JMO.
just fake. For destruction's sake I wake. Now they're over me, these hands restrain me. It's all gonna be over soon. If this is as good as it gets, then this must be my heaven.
If this is as good as it gets, then this must be my heaven. This is as good as it gets, then this must be my heaven. If this is as good as it gets, well, then this must be my heaven.
Tell your friends to change all their plans, break these rules and make all the scans. What you left is now with me. Overdose of life, I set it free.
There you go, that's one of many. Now then, I think whilst you're listening to that, you should bear in mind that the female vocalist was 14 years old, and the guy at the time was around about 19. So when you put that sort of perspective, that's very good. I tell you what, some of these, I don't call them youngsters, I'm not that old myself, but when I was at the Chester Fringe, and again, it was amazing to see it, because we don't get that many young artists sending stuff to the show. I have had a couple of 17, 18-year-olds send me some stuff, and they were doing sort of their A-levels, and they were a band called The Switches, and they were fantastic. They were, and I wouldn't have known they were that young. The composition, the way they put it together was brilliant. And I met this girl at 14. In fact, I spoke to her mother the other night. She entered the competition on the phone, called Charlotte Oram, and I tell you what, she is a name to watch out for. Avril Lavigne, eat your heart out. Avril Lavigne plus better voice, amazing, and at 14, goodness knows where it comes from. And it's amazing. You must get this as well with kids that come through your place at such a young age. They seem to be developing such an interest.
Yeah, I mean, we've got our youngest band who are taking part in our concert tomorrow night are 11/12/13. The drummer's 11 years old. I mean, that really is the threshold age limit for us. You know, we weren't going to really accept that age. You know, it is, you know, a bit too young, but he's pretty good. And, you know, they're doing Guns N' Roses tomorrow night.
Really? That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
So what about, because as I said before, one of the bands I saw, there was this real mix of ages going. What about some of the, if anybody's listening and they're sat at home and they've always had a secret passion to come and play the drums, and say the 50 or even the 60, I'm assuming they can enrol in these courses as well.
No, they can't, unfortunately. Can't they? We're very ageist. No, we're very much centred on youth, actually.
Are you?
Only because I feel they can benefit the most from what we've got to offer. You know, the tutor's very young, well, compared to me anyway, but very experienced and qualified. You know, they come out of Salford University's, you know, popular music course.
Yeah. We have had a load of them on here from there. They churn them out. I tell you, I was amazed.
I know.
Salford Uni churn them out more than Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts.
Really?
In the comparison, and certainly the calibre, much higher calibre out of Salford Uni, I would say, than Lipper.
Well, I mean, Salford's got a good reputation, hasn't it? Yeah, it's a good breeding ground for musicians. I think a lot of musicians come from all over the country to that, you know, place, and then they stay here, don't they?
Yeah, well,
That's my
definitely.
understanding.
Well, it's good. And Ian Britt, who's currently his album, I mean, he's signed to a small independent label in London. He's from Salford Uni, and his album's just gone to number 3 in the folk chart, straight in, just behind David Gray. And in fact, I shall dig out. In fact, my bag's in the car, but I shall dig out some of his stuff because he's fantastic. So, if we've whetted the appetites for anybody, do you have a website? Do you have details? People how they can get hold of you?
Sure. You know, if anyone thinks they've got a son or a daughter or a grandson, granddaughter who might be interested in joining band school for our next term, which starts in October, they can go to the website, which is www.bandschool, BANDSKOOL, not the usual spelling, .co.uk. You can apply online.
All right.
We have a concert tomorrow night as well at the Manchester Metropolitan University Student Union. I hope that's fairly well attended. It should be a riot.
In the right way.
I hope so.
Especially with 11 and 12-year-olds around.
Well, you know, that's definitely the youngest. I mean, the average.
So what
is
age do you
15,
go up
16.
to? What age do you go up to then? What's
you know, I advertise it as being 12 to 21, really.
Right, okay,
you
fair
know,
enough.
I'd like to definitely encourage older students, you know.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, that's brilliant. Well, it certainly sounds like there's plenty for people to have a go at, certainly during the summer break as well. But if you want to come along and see exactly what you're churning out, then that's at the Manchester Metropolitan University.
It's a good chance to see what we're up to, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. All the W's at Band School, skool.co.uk for more details, and you can apply online. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank